Happy Monday, everyone. Carmen Broxma here with Choose Joy with Carmen, and back again for another episode of my Mojoy Monday. And so I wanted to show you the products that we're going to be using. We're going to be using the back of one of the papers that's in this Storybook Gnomes designer series paper, and we're going to be using, I can kind of just show you this really quick if you haven't seen it. There's some of the designs, and once we get to the one that I'm going to be using today, this is so pretty. I think it's just really a nice wintry scene. Snowflakes on the back, and then we have this design, very cute. And then this on the back. And the die cut that comes in this bundle cuts out these mushroom houses, which is really cool. That's what I love about Stampin' Up! Papers too, is they coordinate their dies with some of the paper designs. Then we have this. And there's the back of that. And then we have this one. And the back of that. And then this is the one we're going to be using today. Not this side, but we're going to be using this side. So, the colors that are in this designer series paper is Balmy Blue, Basic Black, Bermuda Bay, Calypso Coral, Early Espresso, Night of Navy, Pacific Point, Pale Papaya, Pool Party, Poppy Parade, and Soft Sway. So I'm going to be using for my card base Bermuda Bay. And for the most part, Bermuda Bay throughout the whole thing. But I did bring in some, which one did I bring in? The Pool Party. So you'll see how I do that. Then we're also going to be using this gorgeous paper that's called Snowflake 12 by 12 Specialty Vellum. And there's different vellums in here. And let me show you them. So we have this vellum that's got like the silver sparkly circles. Then here's some snowflakes. And then there are three, these three right here that have this, it's like a felt kind of design. So there's the snowflakes and the circles and some more snowflakes. And the one we're going to be using today is the one that's like the iridescent snowflakes. This is just gorgeous. We're going to be using the Penguin Play set for the most part. I did want a sentiment that I didn't really like any of the sentiments for today's card in this one, so we're going to be using the Christmas to Remember, this sentiment here, 'tis the season. And in playing with this card, even though I inked up my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, I decided I better use my Stamparatus so that, because I couldn't get the darkness that I wanted. So I put my little penguin in there, and I'm going to ink him up with the Memento Tuxedo Black. And then this way, if I don't get it dark enough, I can go back and re-stamp it. And that's what I like about the Stamparatus. See, it's like I didn't get it very good right there, or I didn't push it down enough in that corner. So when I have images like this, I definitely have to pull this out because it's too hard to line it back up again. So let me go ahead and push down more on this side. And there we go. See, that's a perfect image to me. So then what we're going to do is pull this out of here. We're going to use the punch that goes with this. And we're going to punch out our little penguin guy. And then we'll continue on. So I'm going to do it this way so that I can see what I'm doing here. And let's see, get it right in there. I like to do it from behind so that I can see what I'm punching. And then once I got it lined up, I can punch that out. And now we have our little penguin. So now I'm going to set this aside. And if you notice, I put a case underneath there so that when I'm inking this up, if I didn't have that case there, it would be kind of at a sloped angle. And I don't like that. I feel like I could break that hinge, and I don't want to do that. So that's why I had that underneath there. So let me move that out of the way. And then we're going to take a piece of basic white scrap, and we're going to punch out. I haven't used this new punch yet, and I'm loving it, and I thought I better use it because I really like it, and it's called the Decorative Circle. So we're going to go ahead and punch out that with that punch, and then we're going to do some stamping here. So what I'm going to do is let me bring in a piece of, because I'm going to be using this, and it's longer than what I have there, and so I don't want to get anything here, so I'm putting a scrap paper underneath me. And I'm going to be using the Bermuda Bay. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up and then decide what part of this little curve here that I want for my little image here. So I think I'll go right about there. There we go. And then I'm going to take my snowflakes and make sure it's the same color, and I'm going to use the Bermuda Bay as well, and I'm going to just start stamping some random snowflakes on this piece behind here, and then we'll continue on, get that done. And if you want, if you need to just kind of add a little extra there. So then I decided that I wanted the snow part down here to be a little glistening. So I'm going to bring in my Wink of Stella, and I'm going to go ahead and put that down here at the bottom. Just put some Wink of Stella there, and that'll give it that glittery looking snow. And as soon as I get this on here, I will show it to you closer. I just love Wink of Stella. I love it because it adds like that glitter look, but it's not messy like glitter. Okay, so now I have, see that glitter there? I love it. Okay, now I wanted to pull in a sponge dauber. And I think with this, instead of doing the Bermuda Bay, I'm going to do the Pool Party. Because since I have Pool Party in part of the other card, I want to bring in a little bit of that into this element. So I'm just going to go through and ink up my sponge dauber. And I probably should have done this before the Wink of Stella, but I didn't, so hopefully I won't get too much Wink of Stella on my ink pad here. And I'm just going to go through and ink up these edges to give it that little extra. Okay, so there's that. Okay, now let's go ahead and stamp the rest of our parts for our penguin. So I'm going to have this scrap right here. I like usually like pumpkin pie for the nose and stuff, but I'm going to go ahead and do Calypso Coral because these are lighter colors, and since Calypso Coral is in this paper pack, even though it's not in this paper that we're using, it I thought it really would look nice. So I'm going to take the sentiment in the Bermuda Bay, and I got to tell you, I'm not a big fan of sentiments that are like this, that have the solid background, because I'm just really bad at it. And I was really having a hard time trying. First, I was going to try it on stamping it on the pool party, but I was really having a hard time getting this part. Even though it looked inked up, it wasn't stamping right. So what I did is I have like a sanding block, and I went ahead and I sanded off a little bit off of the stamp and then cleaned it off, and now it stamps beautifully. But still, when you stamp images like this, when you ink this up, you don't want to push down too hard, because then that excess ink that's puddled around there will go into those areas of white where the words are. So we're going to go ahead and stamp this down lightly and just kind of give it let it sit there, and then I'm going to pick it up. And see, it doesn't look so hot, but I think once it dries, it'll be okay. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so that's our sentiment that we're going to use. And then I need a hat, and I'm going to do that in Bermuda Bay as well. And all of these are going to have to be fussy cut because there's no dies that go with them. But these images are really pretty easy to fussy cut. There's not a lot there. So on the scarf, I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to start off with the pool party because I wanted to do something different. So I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp the scarf. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Stampin' Right marker in the Bermuda Bay. So this is pool party, and I'm doing Bermuda Bay here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my reading glasses because I cannot see what I'm doing there. But what I'm going to do is just kind of make some stripes on the scarf, just to add a little more character than it being just solid. And this is a whimsical stamp, so it doesn't have to be perfect stripes. Just add a little bit more there. I need to go check outside. It sounds like it's raining, which would be lovely. So let's see if you can see the stripes in there. See how cute that is? Okay, so now I'm going to bring back in this punch, and I'm going to need to punch out the little feet. So I need to figure out how to put them in here. So I need to make sure. I like to check it out before I do my stamping. So I'm going to go ahead and get my little feet, and I'm going to take off one of these images off this block and put these little feet on here, and then I'm going to bring in my Calypso Coral and go ahead and stamp a little foot there and another one over here. There we go. So then I think that is all our elements, I believe. Let me look. I think that's all we need because I got the snowflakes. And then, oh, let me show you what I did with the snowflakes. I've already done it. So, I'll show you that later. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut out these three images. Then I'm going to punch out these two little feet. And then we'll come back and I'll show you how I put them together. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I have all my pieces cut, fussy cut and punched out, and I've already put some glue on the back there. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull out my Calypso Coral and stamp his nose really quick here, and then we can assemble the rest of him. So let me go ahead and pull this in a little closer and hopefully not get my head in the way too much, but I gotta look down through there to see where the nose goes. Okay, now we got our little nose or beak or whatever you want to call it stamped, and I'm going to use my reverse tweezers. Now these aren't from Stampin' Up, but they do have them now, but they didn't have them at the time, and I need these a lot. So I go ahead and put his scarf on with the liquid glue. Gonna pick up his hat, and I only put glue near the bottom because the first time I did it I put it all over, but the whole hat isn't going all over, so I decided to be smarter this time and not put it everywhere. Okay, and now his little feet, so cute. And then let me get this turned around so I can get, I need to do it this way, I guess. So I can let it go there. There are his little feet. So there's our little guy. He's so cute. I just love him. Okay, so now let's go ahead and assemble our card. So on the base, like I told you, I'm using the Bermuda Bay for my base. Don't have my bone folder handy here, which was crazy, but to make that really nice and crease, I suggest using your bone folder. And then what I did, this was the part that I wanted to show you earlier. I stamped some snowflakes on the designer series paper, kind of in the same area that I'm going to put that other piece, this piece. So kind of will look really cute there. So let's go ahead and get this adhered and put on our card front. And then we can move on. So while I'm doing this, I just want to thank you all that are watching me. And if you like what you're seeing, if you give me a thumbs up, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to share the video with your friends, and if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. And I would appreciate it if you would subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Okay, so there's that. Now let's get our next pieces, which is that vellum. And with vellum, you want to find ways to hide the adhesive. So since this is going to go right about there, and then I'm going to be putting this somewhere in that area, what I think I'll do is I will go ahead and put adhesive on half of this at the bottom. I think that's what I'll do first of all. Oops. See, and this is why I should have been on my silicone mat, because I sitting here right in front of me, and I went off and got onto my desk there. So now I'm going to determine where I want this about, and then kind of place that on my vellum. And then the cool thing about that is, now that I have that on there, now I could put adhesive on the back right where that is, and you won't see the adhesive. But I also, because I don't want to just like loose everywhere else, I'm going to go ahead and add a glue dot to each corner, because then I'm going to cover it up with some embellishments. So let me go ahead and get a glue dot on each corner. And I suppose I don't need one in that corner up there, but we'll just go ahead and do it anyway. So get a glue dot on each of those corners, because we're going to hide it with the embellishments anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put this down on my Bermuda Bay strip here, and all the dimensions will be on my blog like usual. Okay, so there we go. Now we have that. So now I can go ahead and decide where I want to put that, because I still want to be able to see a little bit of those snowflakes that I stamped on the designer series paper. And now let's go ahead and add some adhesive to the back of this. And then, because this is going to be, you know, not even, I think what I'm going to do is add a couple of dimensionals just to the top part of there, so it'll kind of even it out a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to the card front. And then, see that? See, and by putting the dimensionals there, I didn't have to put adhesive, and then if I pushed it down, it was going to be lower. That's a little higher, but it really looks cute that way. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and pop up my little guy here as well. So I'm going to put a couple dimensionals on the back of him, and then we're going to pull that release paper off, and then put him on down into the, to have his bottom part down in the snow there. Or you could, you know, you could either put it up here where his hat sticks over. I don't know, I kind of might like to do that. I'm going to do that, I think. It's kind of cute that way. So there, I'm going to do it like that. And then I'm going to take my sentiment that I also had to fussy cut out, and I'm going to put a couple dimensionals, but since that's a little thinner, I'm going to put 3 of the mini ones on the back. Probably should have moved that one down a little, but oh well. We're going to go with it. And I'm going to put that sentiment down here in this corner. There we go. Okay, so now I think we're done with the card front, except for adding our embellishments to cover up that adhesive. And I'm going to go ahead and use, this is the Pool Party one that's part of the Fine Sparkle adhesive back gems. And I'm going to go ahead and put one in each corner. And that's going to cover up any of that adhesive glue dot that might be poking through that vellum. And really, you know, because of the, you know, the iridescent here, I could have easily put glue dots like behind those areas, and you probably would have not even seen it, because that's a solid. It's not see-through. So let me put another one up here in this corner, just to have it uniform. And that's really cute, because it matches, the Pool Party matches some of the Pool Party in there, and it really just ties it in nicely. So there's the front of the card, and now I've already went ahead, and what I did is I took the Pool Party and stamped some snowflakes, and then in the Bermuda Bay stamped the sentiment. And that's also part of that set. Where did it go? That we were using, that this came from. I don't know. Oh, here it is. So I'm using the Friends Like You Make This Season Special. And then I took a piece of the designer series paper, and we're going to put that at the bottom, and then adhere the whole thing onto the inside of the card. And then this card will be done. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I think it's another cute card for Christmas in July to give us some ideas. This really isn't a Christmas, but it's a winter scene, because it doesn't say, talks about the season. And so when I think of penguins and snow and stuff, I think about the winter season. I don't necessarily think about Christmas, but I think about just cold in that season, in those winter months. Okay, so there we go. There's our inside and our outside. I love it. I love that iridescent vellum paper. It is so pretty. Okay, there's this week's card. I hope you were all inspired, and hope you all have a great week, and we will see you again next Monday for another episode of my Mojoy Monday. Bye-bye, everyone.